WTN-TV Informer, I am Desiree Mago. Let's take a look at what's making the news. The civil servants are still awaiting their bonuses for the month of December. Government has promised to make the payments to a certain scale of civil servants before February 6th. Vice President of the Windward Island Chamber of Unions, Claire Alshot, confirmed this during a recent press conference. The union member also spoke about a delegation leaving to a regional meeting in Costa Rica on aging.
No, not one person could relate that they have received a Christmas bonus in December and also on the cost of living of 2010. I have received an answer on behalf of, we have received an answer, and the letter was received yesterday at the White House office, addressed to the White to Mrs. Claire Alshot, and stating that the Christmas bonus will be paid, as was also stated in the media. They are putting everything together to pay the Christmas bonus by or no later than February the 6th, 2012. Okay, so the payroll and who is entitled to that would be all civil servants or all the workers falling under the responsibility of the government up to scale 6, as well as the pensioners. In the letter that I received, no amounts was mentioned. However, from the newspaper, I saw the amounts, and I can clearly say again, the amounts was very much different between the two groups. Again, this is a form of discrimination and inequality, because if you are given a lower category of workers or the lower scales of workers and pensioners a Christmas bonus, we will be continuing our work here at St. Martin in an anti-poverty platform. We also know that in May there will be a regional intergovernmental meeting on aging that will be held in Costa Rica, and of course evaluation and the implementation of the International Action Plan of Madrid that was signed on by the Kingdom in 2002. That will be also the center of the discussion at that intergovernmental meeting that will be held.
You're watching WTN-TV Informer. More news when we come back. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Andrew, and I'm here to let you know about the late night show with Andrew. That is every day, Monday to Friday, right here on WTN TV Channel 10. Now, late night show with Andrew. I don't find it necessary for you to do that every time I say my last name. It makes no sense. Okay, so the late night show with Andrew is a comedy program, 1 hour, and it starts 10:20 to 11:20 every day right here on WTN TV Channel 10. Now make sure you join us, late night show with Andrew. Now if you do that one more time, because it's not a bad word, it's just my name, it's not a bad word. I can't say that? Jeez. Late night show with Andrew right here, WTN TV Channel 10.
And welcome back to WTN-TV Informer. The St. Martin Academy, PSVE, received a surprise visit by police department on Friday morning. Officers were called in by the principal, who felt the need for a surprise search. Police spokesman Ricardo Hansen with the details.
At about 9:30, of course, there was a search done in the St. Martin Academy PSVE, And the search was carried out on a request of the management of the school, on the request of the school management, the principal, because of late they have seen some increase in strange behavior, and the situation in the school has become quite tense. And the tenseness gave the management to believe that things, illegal things were happening. Maybe illegal drugs were brought in, maybe weapons were brought in. And to make sure that this was not the case, they asked the police department to jump in and keep a search to see what they would find. And this morning, as I said, yes, a search did take place by about 20 police officers. That's, of course, including many members of the BAFPOL that finished the BAFPOL, together with members of the surveillance department and the zero tolerance team. And the search was carried out, and however, nothing like weapons or drugs were found. However, other things that are not allowed to be in school, which are cell phones. Many cell phones were taken in by the management of that school, so that to prevent, or not to prevent, or to have those children to understand that cell phones are not allowed on the school premises during school hours. Luckily, there were no weapons found, no drugs found. However, many cell phones were found. We noticed too that several students had been jumping over of the wall of the school, whether it's going out or coming in, whether they had to be in class or what. But when they noticed that the police presence, they started jumping back into the school premises so that they would be able to attend class. So all in all, it turned out still positive that there were no weapons and no drugs found. And we will continue carrying out school searches once the request comes in.
The deadline for motorists to pay their 2012 motor vehicle tax and get their new plates is February 28, 2012. This is the date set by law which motorists should pay up their motor vehicle tax. Once the deadline has passed, controls would be stepped up by the police defaulting motorists. Up to Friday afternoon, a total of 4,134 pairs F number plates had been sold, and 1.3 million guilders has been collected so far. The Tax Administration Office also has a number of additional temporary workers to accommodate the large number of motorists who are expected to shop up to pay their motor vehicle tax and purchase their new plates. The new plates are yellow in the color and have a picture of Fort Amsterdam in the background. The cost of the plates remain the same, 275 guilders for regular gasoline vehicles, 300 guilders for rentals, 200 for motorbikes. The police department is urging all motorists to get their new plates as soon as possible to avoid getting pulled over. And you're watching WTN-TV Informer. More news when we come back. Stay with us.
Fact: St. Martin has been named the biggest country in the world. Fact: St. Martin is now completely crime-free, and the government has sent home all police officers. Fact: If you don't protect yourself while having sex, you can get infected with HIV/AIDS. Which one of these facts are true? You be the judge of that. Protect yourself and be safe. HIV/AIDS is real. This is Real Talk.
A message by the St. Martin AIDS Foundation.
And welcome back to WTN-TV Informer. Parliamentarians will debate on Tuesday the lawfulness of the voting of Jules James, one of its own members of Parliament, MPs, on a motion that specifically named him in the continuing saga about and dismissal of workers by Simpson Bay Resort, where he is the general manager. The public meeting of Parliament, starting at 10 a.m., was requested by MPs of the National Alliance. The 5 MPs want to discuss their motion of November 17, 2011, on which James voted. Their position that James of the United People's Party was not allowed to vote. Governor Eugene Holliday's letter to Parliament on the issue dated on December 5th, and reaction to it by the President of Parliament. WTN-TV Informer brings you back to the last meeting on this issue on November 17th, where members of the National Alliance, Louis Laveis and Dr. Lloyd Richardson, gave an emotional plea to James to resign.
See, Mr. Leader, I ought to do it this way because got to say to this injustice, no mas. No mas. I ask you that within 10 days, we take the necessary legal steps and advice that we would need to deal with this legislation and consult with our colleagues, and then we'll be big about it and consult with the rest of them. And bring this piece of legislation and submit it to the Chair Lady of Parliament so we can take the necessary steps for treatment and handling with some form of urgency. Because this disgrace is not something that I will subscribe to. I present to you this draft legislation and expect it to be dealt with effectively and appropriately. No mas. Thank you, Madam
Our
Chair.
meeting continues. MP Laveis still has the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me that break. I really appreciated that. I just wanted to conclude at that point by stating that I love my sister. With every last breath of my life, I would never play politics. Could never play politics at her expense. And in every family, the baby of the family, and she's the baby of the family. She gets all the love. Couldn't play politics, just couldn't do it. Madam Chair, we cannot condone, sit by, and continue to see despicable employers and general managers.
But if we are not endowed with morals, how could we then write fair laws? And even if fair laws are written, how could we then have the capability of following and exercising laws in fairness?
In our international news, Yemen's embattled president was on his way to the United States for medical treatment Monday, officials said. President Ali Abdullah Saleh left Yemen on Sunday and stopped in Oman before continuing Monday on a trip to the United States, Yemeni government sources said. The purpose of Saleh's U.S. trip is a private medical visit, the Yemeni embassy in Washington said in a statement Sunday. The president will travel back to Yemen in February to attend the swearing-in ceremony of the newly elected president, the statement said. At least 6 family members were with Saleh, 2 senior Yemeni government officials stated. Saleh was wounded in a June bomb attack on his presidential palace. Organizers said protests against Saleh and his ruling family would continue for months, just as they did when the president was in Saudi Arabia for treatment after the June attack. Saleh left for Saudi months ago, but came back. It's not over for Saleh, said Hussein Mansour, a protester in Sana'a. We want him to come back to Yemen so that he is tried for his crimes. And that brings us to the end of WTN-TV Informer. Until our next edition, I am Desiree Mago. Enjoy your week.